So today's video is been very hard for me to even talk about this because it mixes something good like learning to be a scout, um, a respect for the nature and learning skills of survival. But when I picked up this book, which is 1965, I believe. This book was from somebody, and I'm trying real hard not to put their face out there or their name out there. Okay, this says September 1962. So, other than the little mustache on here, what you would expect on a scouting. Minus his drawings. So, scouting took a lot of skills from the Native Americans, and they kind of promoted it. I think there was a reason for this, because they certainly didn't have a respect for Native Americans, but I think they, well, I'll discuss that as I go, but I think, there's a hidden reason why they included the Native Americans. So we have skills of chopping wood, of skills for outdoors, canoeing, maybe even hunting small animals, and using a compass. So, it seems very wholesome on the face of it. Okay, so here's one symbol is secret society symbolism is black and orange, which I have associated with not only with Halloween but with satanic worship. And here again we have taking from the Native Americans and twisting the meaning of it. There was not any child abuse or domestic violence or incest in tribes before, as they call it, the black robes came. This was a quote by the Crow chief, Many-Coos, who had said, we never knew who the devil was until the black robes came. So take a look at this flag. What does that remind you of? It reminded me, when I looked at it, it looked like a Campbell soup label. I don't know if there's any connection. I'm just making the observation. And the Boy Scout salute of the three fingers. Knowing now what the 3-6 sign, which is putting which is basically the OK sign. This is it. And I've used that as an OK sign, like most people have, not even understanding it had a subliminal message for secret society members. So here's all these nice badges and pins, awards for, doing excellent work. Shows the boy with his parents, and his parents are proud because he's made achievements. So let's take a look at those. Again, we have the orange and black. So take a real good look at this. What do you see down below? A noose. Right there, a noose. And the fleur-de-lis, which is the outer part there, that's the fleur-de-lis. It was originally associated with Jesus and Mary Magdalene being married. And again, here's a second class pin with a ribbon in the noose. And of course the red, white, and blue associated with our flag. And we have the name A World Brotherhood here. And all the symbolism associated. The anchor I've also seen associated with secret societies. I'm not sure what it means though. And all the fun activities, you're a member of a group. You get to go camping in tents, and that's fun. It's adventure. It's getting out and kind of proving yourself, and learning new skills, making new friends, making your parents proud. And for boys, maybe to impress the girls. Okay, so here's where it gets real scary. And why I think they were indoctrinating boys. So this looks almost exactly like a Freemason initiation. If you've ever looked at pictures of a Freemason initiation, this is it. So, it's a solemn ceremony where, the boys feel like they are solemnly pledging to do, whatever, to belong to the Scouts. And again, with red and black. Orange and black and red and black are satanic, as far as I know. It is. And here they talk about the stripes. I believe this is also a subliminal message. I can't remember exactly what it means, but they're talking about the patrol leader has 2 green stripes, and the assistant patrol leader has 1. So, you are constantly reminded of your standing with the Boy Scouts. You have scout meetings, you discuss things, you're part of a group that makes a decision. All of this is part of connection with each other, with your community. So to leave it means you leave you're no longer to get to do things with your scout friends. Your parents are disappointed. There's pressure there. So here's the scout badge again with the noose and a ribbon, the eagle, and then the fleur-de-lis behind the eagle. Now they're saying the knot attached is to the bottom of the scroll is to remind you that as a scout you have promised to do a good turn to someone every day. So of course, that's on the surface is associated with something good. Me personally, I think it's a reminder of, we will get you if you tell any of our secrets, or, you turn your back on us. I think, to me, that's, we're gonna string you up the next tree. And no doubt, I have heard of satanic cults killing rabbits in front of kids in order to scare them into silence. And a secret handshake. That's what the Freemasons do too. And here's what it says. The scout hand clasp is made with the left hand, the hand nearest to the heart, the hand of friendship. To give the scout hand clasp, extend your left hand with 3 middle fingers outstretched, the little finger and the thumb spread out. Interlock your fingers with your friend's fingers and clasp his hand firmly. So that is definitely a Freemason handshake. And here they pretend to care about the environment. But what I'm seeing now is, it was just to make themselves look good. They don't really care, because the Hebrew name for the devil is the destroyer. Again, learning how to make a fire, what to do to put out your fire, learning how to tie knots. What to do, in case of emergency, somebody's house is on fire. They used to promote the idea of helping little ladies cross the street. Here's wound care, what to do if you need to help someone with an injury. Talk about our flag. They intersperse the military stuff with the Boy Scouts as well. Your country, taking care of your country. And of course, George Washington was a known Freemason. And the Scout Oath. On my honor, I will do my best to my duty to God and to my country, and to obey the Scout law, to help others, people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Except what was going on behind closed doors. Talks about everything, being thrifty, being brave. They tell them to have a bank account. Tell them to be reverent of God. You know, all the things that you would think were good, and they are good, except that that is how they mix the good with the sacred with the profane. And they talk about teamwork, Scout teamwork, of, you know, boys getting together to discuss things. Scout craft. Your hiking outfit, a hat, a walking stick, jacket, socks, shoes, boots, mittens, more rubber boots. So it all looks pretty normal, pretty good. They teach signs of hand signals. And great hints of what to look for, poison ivy and things, staying together out in the woods, finding your way with a compass, a map, studying a map, all the symbols that go with the map. Compass, how to use it, all great stuff. That's actually why I bought the book, because I wanted to go over what I'd learned as I was a Girl Scout, and I wanted to have a book of reference of what to go over. This is all a really good section on, you know, nature, and really good instruction on that, the basics. And here's a section on trailing, where it tells you certain signs on trails. This way, message 3 steps in this direction. This is not the way. I have gone home. And these are more Native American signs. This is the way. Turn right. Turn left. Not this way. Danger, help. You notice there's three stacks of something like sticks or something. X's. This has the top bent to turn left. This has the top bent right to turn right. Stones. The use of stones, pretty obvious there. And then a nice little guide on animal tracks. So, you know, this is like halfway through the book. All very, you know, wonderful, you know, wholesome stuff. Here's one on knives. Taking care of your knives, using them properly. Axes, making a fire, what to look for. Cooking over a fire. cleaning up, putting out the fire, taking care of someone who's in need of first aid, bandaging, somebody needing artificial respiration, how to help them, shock and fainting, cuts and burns, blisters, just really good resource as far as that is. Living the Scout ideals, again, reinforcing, living up to says the Scout oath or promise. Am I trustworthy? Now that's an interesting choice of words. Am I trustworthy? Like, are you trustworthy not to give out your secrets, the secrets? So this is very interesting. This is almost, exactly like Freemason. They have the steps in their rituals. Again, I don't know what it means. I just know I've read about it. And a scout earning some money or just doing it for free. An elderly person can't mow their lawn, so they're out mowing it. Delivering groceries, maybe somebody who's sick. It's very good. That part of it was very good. That what I call the sacred side. I mean, having fun, camping together, swimming together, going on hikes. It all seems really good. Going on outings where the entire troop goes camping overnight. Identification of trees, also very wonderful. Camp kit, cooking, how to cook over a fire. Again, identification of plants. And here's learning the Morse code. And a flag system of what each of them mean. Signaling with sound. Sterile dressing for bandaging someone. So when this is like the third level of scouting, more intense. Having fun in the water together. Canoeing, telling stories by the campfire, all fun stuff. Here we are with the Indians again. And how they did things. Conserving resources, merit badges. More badges. From a boy to a man, again with emphasizing God and duty to God. And I think this was all, part of it. Here's all the awards. Supporting the country, being patriotic. Okay, this is when I took a second breath, because I'm like, oh my God. Okay, I get it. They want to show you how to do something properly. Why does he have to be naked to show you proper form? Why doesn't he at least have some shorts on? And again, running. Again, he could have shorts on and still show you proper technique. A broad jump. And I have no idea why that's even there. It says run. Run, walk. Why? So even more questionable stuff. Okay, what do you see when looking at this? You see one on his back splitting his legs apart. Look at this. Look at that. That guy's sight going straight to the crotch. Now, when they're putting this book together, I can guarantee you they gave a lot of thought to how they put these pictures together and what to include and not include. I mean, that to me is really objectionable. And I can't see anybody putting this together and not having awareness of how this looked. And here we have telling them to be clean and everything. Again, why do they have to show somebody naked in a shower? I know it's a drawing, but it's still a naked naked boy in a shower. Why is that even necessary? So this is like the third level. So you're involved. You've made friends. You've had friends, for 3 years in this scout troop. So you're involved with it. And again, they're showing history. Whose history though? The Egyptians, the pyramids, the Egyptians, the Romans. Once a scout, always a scout. So again, once you've joined us, if something seems off to you and you want to leave, once a scout, always a scout. So let me tell you a story. I want to leave out as much details as possible, only because it's a personal, not a personal to me. I don't want to harm this person, and yet I feel like somebody needs to say something. The truth needs to come out. I think the Boy Scouts have already been scrutinized, like the Catholic Church. I really don't think, I don't know if anything's changed. I just think that things just need to be said. I'm a truth teller and a truth seeker. So this is totally involved in nature and learning plants identification, learning how to build a fire. It's all about nature. It's very much around nature and being a good person. And so one day, you're in these beautiful woods and having a great time with your friends, and you feel the need to relieve yourself, so you go to the bathroom, and your scout leader follows you in there. And your scout leader does inappropriate things to you. And you feel shame, you feel embarrassed, you feel like, what did I do to deserve this? You feel like it's your fault that it happened, and no doubt if the scout leader did it to you, they no doubt made you feel like you wanted it, or you liked it, or whatever, And so this little boy carried this shame and guilt and mark on his soul, that this created a hole in his soul when it happened, and he carried it with him his entire life. And then when he got to a point where he had married, had a family, had a successful business, and he got to a point where he could destroy that bathroom where this man, his leader, who he had looked up to, admired, looked to him as like a second father, who instructed him on so many things of scouting that were important skills, and then talked about God and talked about the country, and then he does this to you. So you had the opportunity to destroy this place that this horrible person took advantage of you. And then you have the opportunity to also destroy the forest area you were at that gave you so many happy hours until that horrible day. And so this is where the evil perpetuates, even though it may have happened decades before. It mixes something sacred, nature and the forest, and a place of serenity and peace and healing. I mean, nature heals. God gave us that to heal us. And so they mix this act of violation, of wounding your soul, and they put a negative energy onto this place of healing. So that is like the worst of it, is they not only mix the sacred with the profane, which is, the act, any act to wound your soul. The same for girls. Anything to wound your soul. It leaves an opening for the evil one to attach negative energy to you, not attach for demons to attach themselves to you, and it creates a doubting of yourself and your worth. And why would God allow this to happen to me? Well, that's what Jesus came to show us, was there was good and evil in the world, and there was one true God, and we could choose between good and evil. And so, if evil things happen, it's not because God doesn't love you. It's because of free will. Everybody has it. Everybody can choose good or evil. And, Jesus said in Matthew 10:34, I don't come in peace. I come bringing a sword. Families are going to be torn apart. And what he meant was one member of the family will choose evil and the other member will choose good. And it will tear the family apart. And that's basically what I want to say with this. And if you have been wounded, which many of us have, I think 1 out of 2 of us have been assaulted that way. If you have, know that it's not God that did that to you, and that it's not God ignoring you. Bad things happen because somebody chose evil. So, my advice is to go out in nature, sit on the ground, and just give it over to God, and to help heal your soul. God bless.